Hello, I'm William Friedkin. I'm the director of The French Connection, and we're right in the heart of Brooklyn, and this is the exact spot where The French Connection chase began. Now, I haven't been here for 38 years, and it's amazing how very little has changed here. These are the buildings, the second building actually, where the character of Popeye Doyle lived. I felt that the Popeye character should live in a place that looked pretty much like a prison. Even though he was a police officer, he was locked in a prison of his own making. And so I chose this building as the apartment building for where the Gene Hackman character lived. And one day he's coming down this walk. All of a sudden, right behind him, a gunshot rang out and shot one of the women who was playing with her child in this area. Doyle tumbled through this grass to my right here, and he took cover behind this tree.
Get down! Get out! Get out of the area!
And he looked up there, and he saw a man duck out of the way up there. And so what he did at that point, he went back here where there's some children who lived here watching him. And he then did something that I'm not going to do. He vaulted this railing to go up on the roof and see who it was that was firing a shot at him. And this is actually where the chase scene began. And it was totally arbitrary. It was something that just came to us as we went around the city looking for locations to do a chase scene that reflected the obsession of the Doyle character. The chase is there simply as a metaphor for this police officer who would stop at nothing to get the guy he was looking for. Hello, Phil.
Hey, Billy Boy.
Nice to see you, pal. Been a long time.
Yeah.
This is Phil D'Antoni, who produced not only The French Connection, but Bullet and some other really great films and television shows. And he brought The French Connection to me. Phil, how did you first get interested in the story?
I had met you at the Paramount lot. You may not even remember
Oh, I
this.
do.
In the gym.
Yeah.
We both used to do a little bit of boxing. Well, anyway, I knew some of your work. I knew particularly the documentaries you had done. And I felt that this movie needed a touch like that. And we needed a young guy. And you were young those days, and so was I. So we met, we talked about it. You agreed that you'd like to do it. And that's really how it began.
Well, it took, what, close to 2 years to get a studio to agree to do it?
Oh, probably.
It was
even,
over a year.
Probably even more than 2 years. When we, with the final script, with the script that we at least felt we could maybe make a deal on, we were turned down as I can remember at least by 8 or 9 studios.
Sometimes twice.
We finally got together with 20th Century Fox. They got a little more money. They had turned it down once before. They came back and said, we can do it if you can make it for a couple of $1 million at the most. And then I said, okay, and I've got a director. His name is Bill Friedkin. They said, isn't he a little bit artsy-tartsy? That was your description in those days, artsy-tartsy. And I said, no, I don't think he's artsy-tartsy. Have you seen the Paul Crump documentary? And they said, no. I said, well, we can get it for you. You then came into New York. We had a meeting with them, and they finally agreed, provided we could get the film rolling in about 6 or 7 weeks.
Because that regime, they were all going to be fired.
Yeah, and we had to get going.
But we felt, I remember at the time,
Sure.
that the story had everything for a great contemporary police thriller, everything except one thing, and that was a big action scene.
Well, I remember that you particularly, because I had been involved in Bullet, and there had been a chase scene in it, you said we ought to try and put a chase scene in it. And I remember meeting you in your apartment, and we walked 40, 50 blocks. And somewhere along the lines, an elevated train was mentioned.
And that led to us saying, what would happen if? What would happen if there was a sniper shot? The sniper got down out of the building and he followed him, and that's what led to the car
Taking over
chasing the
car.
train. What really interested me, Phil, because I used to ride the subways and elevated
Sure.
trains, and I think the opportunity to do a sequence using what was going on underneath the tracks, all of the sense of big city energy. And we heard that sound that you just heard, that overhead elevated sound. It had a rhythm of its own.
Energy and energy.
And we knew that we didn't have to use any music in the chase scene.
Never.
That the music of the chase would be what was being heard from those elevated tracks.
So much of this stuff was being done by you as you saw it.
Right, we would see something and say, let's shoot
Let's
over
take a
there.
chance. Let's
Let's
try
shoot
it.
over there. If you remember, this is actually where the French hitman went running right up these stairs. This is the Bay 50th station in Coney Island. It would be a huge challenge to us to go up these stairs 3, 4 steps at a time. You want to try it?
Let's go.
Okay. Where'd he go? Hey, come back, you coward. Where? Hey, Phil, that was just a rehearsal. So, these are the stairs where Hackman has lost the French guy. And he comes up and he looks down the platform and he doesn't see him. And he now realizes that he's lost the French guy. And as the train comes on, he catches a 1-second glimpse of Nicoli, the French guy. He sees the French guy get on. And Hackman has to go back downstairs and figure out what to do.
What's the next stop into the city? 25th Avenue.
Really what this chase is about is the interaction of New Yorkers, the way they move around the city, the energy, what you feel coming off the streets. And of course, the elevated train is a big, important part of that. So the first thought that came into my head about how to do a chase in New York is to do it somehow with an elevated train. I was very concerned when I asked the question, how fast does one of these things go at top speed? And the guy said 50 miles an hour. And it was at that moment that I knew we had a chase scene, and not before that. Because a guy in a car running under these tracks could do better than 50 miles an hour and could catch the train.
Billy,
Yeah,
did you go up?
yeah.
Good. We got it on film.
Hold it!
Hackman decides to run down the stairs, and the only way he can get going is by quickly grabbing a car.
And do you remember the make of the car at all?
I think it was a Pontiac.
It was a 1970 brown
Wow.
Pontiac. And it was something very much like this one here.
Wow. Holy mackerel.
And Gene waved his hands out here. He stood out here and he stopped the guy here and he pulled him out of the car over
Wow.
there. And what he did was talk the guy into letting him commandeer this car. This is Detective Randy Jurgensen, who worked with Sonny Grosso in the 28th Precinct, and he was one of our most valuable guys on the French Connection film in getting the film made. Go. Go. Good, right up to the light. Great, Randy.
Okay.
Fantastic. I remember the one thing I said to you that I didn't want to do that you did in Bullet was where you had the streets cleared out.
Planned sequence.
Totally,
really planned.
and just ran the cars through with nobody in
no
harm's
people,
way.
no.
And I remember saying, Phil, this is New York. Let's put this in the middle of New York City life. And there was probably even more people than you see on the streets right now. I operated the camera from right where you're sitting over the stuntman's shoulder, and we had a camera mounted on the front bumper of the car, and I think we had one more mounted inside where in the front seat where Chris is sitting that showed through the window. We went 26 blocks at 90 miles an hour along here, and there was absolutely no control. We had no police control whatsoever. We didn't stop cross traffic. We didn't stop pedestrians from crossing the street. And the only thing that got us through this traffic, if you recall, was we had a gumball on top of the car. A siren, a police siren and a gumball. People heard a siren and tried to get out of the way, but they didn't see a police car. All of the crashes that occurred were accidental.
We had near misses, a few bumps.
A few bumps that weren't supposed to happen.
I remember Gene cracking into a wall when he was driving.
Yeah.
We became the experts in car chases, and yet
we were just faking it.
We just went.
We were just saying, hey, that'd be great to do this or that.
Try it.
Let's try it. But it was something, Phil, I would tell you that I wouldn't do anymore. If we were doing the film today, I'd find another way. It was irresponsible.
If you want to really be honest, Billy, a lot of things we did in that movie were illegal.
It was about illegality. It was
But you
about...
know what they say? It worked.
Yeah, thank God no one was hurt. So this is the exact spot, Phil, this little island here, where we did the most dangerous looking stunt in the movie. We put an enormous pile of garbage out here, and the idea was that a woman crossing the street under these L tracks was going to push a baby carriage across that street, and it was going to look like Hackman, who was doing 90 miles an hour, was going to maybe hit her. Well, we did this in cuts, and I'd like to maybe show the people how we did this in separate cuts where the woman never really even got close to the car.
You can show me.
Let's go over here and set the camera up on sticks. What we did was I had the woman with the baby carriage over here. She's crossing the street this way with a baby carriage, oblivious of what's happening down there. And she comes down here with the baby carriage, and I gave her a stop mark, which was right here on this white line, at which point she then had to turn and look at another camera that was set up over here, Phil.
Wow.
Right where this camera is, on a zoom lens. And at the precise moment when she hit that mark, he had to zoom to her face and see her scream. So I'll do that now, Dan. Are you ready to try that?
Let's see that.
Okay. I came across here. and I pushed the carriage here, she did, and turned right at this spot, at which point he zoomed into her face and she had a huge scream on her face. So after we shot the look into the zoom lens, we shot the stuff of Hackman driving, coming at her, realizing he might kill this woman. We made this final setup with the woman standing here, looking this way as this happened. And this is about as close as she ever stood to get to that car. But anything cuts, Phil. Everything cuts.
If you know what you're doing.
Well, if the audience is deeply immersed in the story. If they're in the story, it all cuts. You know, it's about 38 years since we've come to this spot, which is where the chase scene ended, Phil.
Hackman is coming along, or Popeye Doyle with a car. And about here, he spots Bazoofi walking across here.
You can't see that anymore. They've blocked that section, Chris. Take a look. That red wall up there is where he walked across.
It was just a rail.
Yeah, it was just a rail so that Hackman from his car out in the street could see him coming.
Hold it!
He took a fall from that whole landing,
the whole landing
down to Gene's feet, and Gene didn't expect it. Neither did I.
I think the great thing about that is that Bazoofi was a stuntman in France. And you told him about how this might end the day before. And then the next thing you know is he learned how to speak English well enough to say to me and to you the next day, "I don't dare do it." And you said, "No, yeah," and you got your way. Well, the thing is, when he fired, he didn't mean to shoot him in the back.
Well, there's someone who thinks he did. Hey, Randy, come here, will you? This Randy Jurgensen again, ladies and gentlemen, who worked with us throughout the film, who's in the film, working in the police garage.
And who made that 26-block run with Billy Friedkin in the car, which turned out to be the master in the movie.
Randy, if you remember here, Hackman fires, and what I had told Billy just a few minutes ago, he didn't intend to hit Bazoofi in the back.
I saw the rehearsal, and when I saw what was happening in the rehearsal, I approached Billy and I said, "I don't think you can do that. It looks to me like he's shooting him in the back, and he's unarmed." I said, "Billy, you know, that to me is tantamount to committing murder here." Billy said, "Don't worry, it'll work." I seriously doubted it. I thought we were all going to be embarrassed that Gene would shoot an unarmed man. Fast forward, we're in the premiere watching the movie, and we come to that particular scene, and there were 1,200 people, you got it, in the audience. And when that scene played, I held my breath. 1,200 people stood up and applauded. Billy ran up to me in the theater and said, "It worked for me, it works for them. And you know what, Randy? It's also going to be the poster shot."
Listen, it was terrific to see both of you again. We haven't gotten together like this for many years. We stay in a kind of touch.
Absolutely.
But we'll be brothers forever, man.
Oh, yeah.
The French Connection, the result, I guess it turned out good, but it was not an easy film to make.
I got an
Not an easy
Oscar
film.
to prove it.
Oh, you didn't sell yours?
I'm so proud to have been a part of the film. And that's from my heart.
The great union.
And I love you. I owe you a great debt. God bless. God bless, Randy. Thanks for watching.